Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. You may or may not know, I don't live in the United States. So seeing new movies can sometimes be a hassle. New movies ordinarily come out the same date that they do in the United States, especially the major releases. Sometimes there's a little delay, but for the most part, they pretty much come out the same day. The problem is seeing it in English. I live in South America, so sometimes these movies are only available in English late in the evening or the following week on usually a Tuesday or a Wednesday where I live. Just so happens that with the Marvels, it came out here the same date that it did in the States, but the English version of it wasn't being shown until a week later, actually about 2 weeks later. So I just had a chance to see it yesterday, and this is my immediate reaction. This is an unscripted review, so please forgive my, thoughtless process here. Before I begin, if you like what I do here, give the video a like, and hey, shoot me a subscribe if you want. So with that out of the way, this week I'm talking about The Marvels. There has been so much talk about this movie. I initially didn't even want to speak on it because, let me just say, as a person who grew up in the 80s and 90s, I was born in the 70s, I know how much different movies are now versus when I was younger. Movies like Commando and Rambo, Aliens, Terminator, the things that I grew up with, those movies aren't being made in the same way anymore. But I also understand that times change. Movies from the 80s were much different than movies from the 50s. It is now 2023, and I honestly feel like this movie got a lot of unnecessary hate. It's fine to dislike some of the moves and things that Disney has done over the last few years, especially with the Marvel franchises and with Star Wars, but I really just got to be honest about certain things. I think a lot of people really put a lot of time into talking about what's like too woke and too diverse instead of just watching movies. If you have a problem with the direction that Disney is taking, well, don't watch their movies anymore. You know who else I don't like? I don't personally like Tyler Perry movies or his plays. So you know what? I don't watch them, not on purpose. It's just a conscious decision. I think that, yes, there have been some things happening with Marvel that I don't necessarily agree with, but I've never gotten the whole, they're pushing a message on me. It never even dawned on me in that way. And I feel like it's one of those buzzword things, talking about what's woke, and it gets people a lot of views. So you see a lot of people on YouTube talking about it. Even a lot of YouTubers that I normally watch, I really just get tired of them talking about what is too woke and what's too diverse and what's this and what's that. Just watch the movie or don't. Like, why are you complaining about something that no one's forcing you to watch? It just doesn't make sense to me. Now, I will admit, it does make a lot more sense to have diverse characters in films who are well written and just part of the movie, instead of it being kind of forced down your throat that you have to accept these people who are different, when you can just put these people into a movie, a well-written character, and you're already going to accept that person. It doesn't have to be forced on you. I think back to a movie like Night of the Creeps, right? Night of the Creeps, the best friend in that movie was a guy who couldn't use his legs, but it wasn't the subject of his character. There's a couple of bullies that mess with him, but otherwise, he was just another dude in the movie. It wasn't like rammed down your throat that, oh, you have to accept him because he's handicapped. No, you just accept him because he's another human being and he's just another guy. His disability wasn't his character. And yeah, I can understand where people say, well, I don't like it being forced on me that, hey, there's this new character and you have to accept everything about them, blah, 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 instead of just writing or just having a well-written character in a film. But on the other hand, I think that the whole woke buzzword has become so ubiquitous with the subject matter on YouTube that people are almost afraid to just say that, hey, I actually kind of like that movie or that show. No, they just want to go with the crowd who's saying, oh, it's woke. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, why is something woke because it has a female character in it? The Marvels has 3 main characters that are all established female characters in Marvel Comics. And they're the same race. It's not like the races were swapped or anything like that. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, how's this movie a woke disaster? That's what I kept hearing, is a woke disaster. It's a dumpster fire. It's this, that. It's terrible. I don't get it. Like, why is it woke because their main characters are female? And I'm really not understanding where this sentiment is coming from with this movie. They're not forcing anything on you. They're just telling a story. They're not forcing you to, support women's rights, gay rights, anything. Like it's there's none of that in this movie. It's literally just a story and some superheroes and how they get their powers mixed up and how they solve the problem. You can talk about the movie's narrative, the storytelling, the plot and plot holes and things of that nature. That's fine, but calling it bad because you feel like it's a woke movie, that's just ridiculous. And I'm going to be honest with you, I actually had a good time watching it. I'm about to be 46 years old. I'm a black man who grew up in the 80s, who's seen all the action movies, the most macho stuff you can imagine, and I love it. I love all that stuff. To this day, John Wick's one of my favorite new characters. And I'm man enough to be honest and say that I actually enjoyed this movie. I think a lot of people on YouTube and in the media are almost afraid to just admit, like, it's not that bad. Depending on what you're there for, you might actually have a good time. And I did, because I went into this movie thinking that it was going to be absolutely terrible. And to my surprise, I actually enjoyed it. It's also the right length. It's not 2 hours and 40 minutes long. It's only an hour and 45. That helps me say that, like, yeah, I will watch this movie again. Ask me how many times I've rewatched Endgame from beginning to end. I haven't since I saw it in the movie theaters. I've watched the beginning and I've watched the end. I've never watched the entire 3-hour film since I watched it in the movie theaters, and I love that movie. So there's something to be said about something just being entertaining instead of people railing on it about being, woke or the worst of Marvel. This isn't the worst of Marvel. I would definitely watch this again over Thor: The Dark World. This movie was actually kind of fun, y'all. I mean, unpopular opinion, I don't care, fight me, but it wasn't that bad. And people on making YouTube videos about how bad it is, they're only doing it for views. If they really believe this movie's bad, I want to see what other movies they review and how they talk about them. Because there are plenty of movies I've seen that are worse than this movie. So anyway, that's just my opinion. I thought The Marvels was pretty good. Give it a shot. You're probably not going to see it in the theaters, so watch it when it comes out on Disney Plus, if you have it, or however you want to watch it. But honestly, I'm going to watch it again when I get a chance. When it comes on streaming, I'm going to watch it again because, yeah, it was actually kind of fun. Plot holes aside, it has a very impactful and important post-credit scene, which a lot of Marvel movies recently haven't had. You can say, well, they added, I don't care when they added it. It was still good. It was still important. The characters were fun. The movie was fun. Hey, if you got a problem with what I'm saying, tough. I liked it. So anyway, that's The Marvels. I'm not going to talk about the plot and everything. If you want to see it, you can see it. There's plenty of videos on YouTube, spoiling it. Yeah, I would just say get away from the spoilers and just watch the movie if you want. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't have to say it's some woke dumpster fire. Just say it wasn't a good movie. But anyway, I liked it. So thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Like I said, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll be back soon.